Now that we have gotten our first introduction into logarithms, I would like to take a moment to show how it is different from square roots. And so we're going to look at two really small equations that I think you both can answer just by looking at them, and we're going to see what the difference is clearly, and hopefully that will help you in the subsequent videos to kind of be clear what we're actually doing here with our newly found logarithms. So I'm going to start with x squared equals 9, and what we at some point learned that if we take the square root on both sides equals, and we always have to remember that we have two possibilities. We get plus or minus square root of 9, and then the square root of x squared is x, and the square root of 9 is 3. So our answer, x equals plus or minus 3. And so that is for the square root, what we had discovered. We basically defined the square root as the opposite of squaring. So if I have 3 squared, I get 9, and then consequently the square root of 9 is 3. Now on the other hand, when we have 2 to the x power equals 8. Now we had already learned when we talked about exponential functions that you can rewrite the 8 as 2 to the third power, and then from there we know that x equals 3. However, how do we do that with our newly found logarithm? We can just simply rewrite that as our x equals logarithm to the base 2 of 8. And so now I want to say also a little bit more about what we are having here. So our 2, right, is the base, and then our x is the exponent. Now on the logarithm also has a base, and that remains the same. That's also our 2. Now our logarithm basically gives us the exponent, and so the whole point of inventing is to find the exponent and solve for it. So therefore our x was in the exponent and is now basically our result. So x equals, and then logarithm to the base 2 of 8. And it is basically simply defined by that, what I just wrote down. It's defined as the opposite of the exponential equation, just like division is defined as the opposite of multiplication. 6 divided by 2 equals 3, simply because 3 times 2 is 6. And so in the same way that works here. So because I can rewrite my 8, so I can, oops, sorry about that, I can rewrite my equation as 2 to the x equals 2 to the 3 to the third power. I know from here that the logarithm has to be 3 then. So from here I know that the logarithm of 2 of the base 2, so to the logarithm to the base 2 of 8 equals 3. That is what I'm using here, and I simply know that because 2 to the third power equals 8, just like this multiplication and division. I hope that was helpful. And so in the next videos now we will learn more about the logarithm and clearly define it in the very next video, and then we'll learn how to solve bigger equations, more complicated equations using our logarithm.